The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community channel that sees all things new. My name is Jennifer Nuya, live streaming from Cavite, Philippines. You're watching Stories from the Fringe, Season 2, Episode 26. Let me know that you can hear me well by typing into the comment section where you are joining us from today and what interesting thing you did this week that you are comfortable sharing with us. You can also use the same chat box to drop in your comments, share your questions, or whatever that you would like to share with us. We will also be dropping links from time to time in the same comment section that you can copy for later use or you can click on. For those who are tuning in for the first time, Stories from the Fringe aims to push for more diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in all aspects of our lives. We are committed to creating a world where individual differences like gender, class, ability, among others, are not only seen and understood, but also empowered and celebrated. We believe that we can all be a part of this collective vision. To make the most of our time together, we encourage you to turn off all distractions, prepare to take notes, mental weekend, and just be fully engaged with our guest today. I'd like to invite you. Please join me in welcoming the happy doctor. Dr. Suresh Devnani is an award-winning speaker and internationally recognized global expert in leadership and workplace culture. For over 28 years, he has been teaching entrepreneurs, educators, corporate leaders, professionals, and overachievers how to build innovative, thriving organizations and design the dynamic life they desire. As a successful entrepreneur, former corporate executive, he is both an academic and a practitioner. Incorporating his continual research into day-to-day business, he's taught thousands of individuals in 123 countries through his books, videos, online courses, and keynote speeches. After advising some of the world's most recognized, most prominent individuals and companies, ranging from best-selling authors to emerging startups and innovative multinationals, Suresh designed a framework for creativity that helps individuals and organizations achieve exponential growth. His clients have included Aesthete, Continental, Qualcomm, Fitness First, Commonwealth Bank, and Trust Company, ITC Hotels, Famous Amos, Kawasaki, as well as high-profile one-on-one coaching sessions and counseling clients. As an in-demand positive psychology expert, he has been featured in countless media outlets and has been invited to speak at TEDx on 4 separate occasions. Dr. Devnani has been awarded the 101 Top Global Coaching Leaders awarded by World HRD Congress. 2019 101 Most Fabulous Global Training and Development Leaders and 51 Most Fabulous Global Happiness Leaders awarded by World HRD Congress 2020. Suresh is also a cultural transformation tools certified consultant by Barrett Value Center, Project Happiness Global Ambassador, Global Goodwill Ambassador, and author of 4 best-selling books. He is here today to share his creativity principles and techniques with you. Again, please help me welcome Dr. Suresh Devnani.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a beautiful day, and it's a great day to be here on stage with you today. Thank you.
Totally agree with you. It's a beautiful day because you're here with us, Dr. Suresh. All right. So can you please, I know that I have already shared a lot of things about you. That's a very impressive, impressive background, impressive experience. So can you tell me more about, or our viewers, more about the work that you are currently doing?
My work is specialized in uplifting people around the world, especially now after COVID. Many people are still living in fear and anxiety. So the whole idea is changing that mindset that yes, we are still dealing with COVID, but COVID is not going to harm you as long as you're taking the steps to save and rescue yourself from that. Now we know COVID is a disease which we can cure. And also by taking the prescribed vaccinations, you honestly can safeguard yourself from getting very ill. So we are now in a better state where we can take care of ourselves as long as we take the precautions. And most companies are now trying to get back onto their feet and change back to the normal. Of course, we have things that have changed. So a lot of more people are working from home right now versus actually being live all day long at workplaces. So there's a lot of things happening right now. So we are dealing with these matters right now to find solutions that work both for the employees and the employers, because if there's not a right balance between the two, then what happens is eventually the company might be unable to retain your services, and we have to be very careful. And as you have seen the disruptions taking place in Europe, there are a lot of people who are not going back to the workplace which they used to. They all want to find new jobs. So that's also a big trend right now, is how do we retain the talent? And if we can't retain the talent, how can we bring in new talent and retrain them so they could come back into the positions that are missing right now to be filled up?
Now you mentioned that more people, they opt for work from home, and that is one of the trends, right? Due to this pandemic. Now, what are other trends that you have identified that is changing the existing work landscape?
So the main thing has become flexibility. Most people want to work the hours they want to work. No longer they want to do this 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 or whatever the hours they were working before. Everybody
but there's
enjoys
nothing
the
wrong with that, right, Dr. Suresh?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But what happens is there are businesses that need people from those certain hours because we are so used to it. Now, calling a call center for services, if there's nobody there to pick up your call, how do you actually do your banking, or you call a credit card company, or maybe let's say make a flight reservation, because those people are no longer there. So that disruption is causing harm to the larger population too. So this flexibility, but I think eventually we will realize we need a job first to make sure we can take care of our needs. Flexibility comes second. But this is a trend right now. I think that will last for another 6 months to a year. Eventually people realize it's best to get a good job which pays well, but maybe doesn't give you the same flexibility.
All right. Yeah. I read somewhere that now with the changes in the workplace, we should stop counting the hours, but rather measure the results. And I totally agree with that. And I also have a friend that says that one of also the trends, recruiters are finding it hard to look for talents. There's a war for talent because now people, especially the millennials, they look not only at the business title. I, for one, I can say when I was much younger, I was more on the business title because I want to have as early as possible to have that manager title after my name.
Vice president, president.
Yes, right? And also the compensation. But more than that, there are other factors that come into play. And one of that, first and foremost, is they want to work for purpose-driven organizations. Organizations whose core values align with them, and that will allow them to work on high impact, high value roles. So it's there were some recruiters. I am a part of a group of HR professionals, and they were lamenting about the dearth of talents. And to my mind, how can there be a dearth of talents? We are close to 8 billion people in the world. That's funny.
Actually, yeah, the strangest part right now is not that there's a limitation of talent, but a lot of countries have closed their doors to importing talent because they're trying to sustain their local population from getting jobs. But eventually, they will realize that they need to import staff. They will need to bring in people from overseas. So, like bringing in Filipino talent into Singapore or bringing in talent to Hong Kong, wherever there's a shortage of people, they will have to create special schemes that they will allow people to come in and take over roles which are not being filled by the local citizens. And this is something we will see gradually changing. Because what happened in COVID, a lot of countries let go of all their imported talent. And they wanted to sustain whatever local people from having a job versus foreigners coming and taking their jobs. But in the next 6 months to a year, I'm sure eventually these countries like even Saudi Arabia, UAE, wherever we have people, they allow imported talent, they're opening the doors and they're bringing them in hordes. So same problem is happening in Europe right now. There's a shortage of talent. So they are creating new schemes that they'll allow imported talent to come in to fill up these positions. Yes, now what were you talking about earlier also, it's true. A lot more people are looking for experiences versus working for a company for only purely pay. But this minority of what we call the current generation, but at the end of the day, they need to decide also who's going to pay for their bills. It's easy said than done to find a job that gives you that experience, which is going to make the world another place. But how many of these NGOs or companies actually are doing that for the world? See, most businesses are put up for a profit. If they don't generate a profit, there's no salary for the employees. Unless these people are willing to work for free, they're going to have a tough time finding a suitable job which pays at the same time, gives them that experience that they're looking for, where they are inputting into the better good of the world. It's easier to find a job and then joining these causes on your weekends and supporting that versus not having a job, looking for a job that will support these causes.
You're right. That's an interesting point that you raised there, that about employee experiences, right? And there are, let's say, small businesses that they, at the startup stage, they are more concerned about gaining profit first before they can even think about creating employee experiences, happy employee experiences. Now, with your experience with multinationals, perhaps there are happy employee experiences that we can start with small companies that are at least low cost or to no cost. So what can this be happy employee experiences that we can start creating?
Okay, so the truth is you are from the HR field. What is the first thing HR does and is seeking? It's trying to find like-minded people in a group. So when the people think alike, what happens is that environment becomes inclusive. It becomes a positive environment where people can work together because they trust each other. But if you bring a raw egg into one of these environments who thinks very different, who's argumentative, or he doesn't believe or she believes in supportive, experiences, then you have this problems at start. So HR, to create happy or what we call inclusive environments, it's all about finding like-minded people who think alike Maybe they work differently, doesn't matter, but they should be having a common purpose. And that's what today's generation is looking for, is a common purpose. So HR has to do a very good job in bringing in talent and making sure that this could be an inclusive group which works in harmony. That's what creates peace, anxiety-free, fear-free environment. What does an employee come to do? He wants to be free to express his thoughts. That's where creativity comes in. If you don't allow your employees to be expressive enough, how do they become creative? So these are the things that are the tools right now HR is playing with, is trying to find people that think alike and who have a common purpose so they can work together to be even bigger and better.
That's wonderful. Yes. Common purpose, not necessarily because you are of the same nationality, because of you are the same race and also educational level. So you mentioned earlier there were some companies, in a way, to my mind, they are limiting themselves, probably adversely affecting scaling up, growing, because they are limiting themselves to a certain segment of people, right? For example, they don't want to import. They don't want to import talents from other nationalities for whatever reason. Yeah. So I am curious. How can you have a book, Happiness Reinvented. So is there a way that really we can reinvent happiness?
See, every happiness has to be reinvented from yourself, because who you are makes you happy or sad. The environment might have a minor play in it, but you have to decide, why do you want to be happy? If you don't have a reason, then find a reason. Watch others who are happy, who have a genuine interest in supporting themselves first and then supporting back society. I believe my happiness comes from serving people. When I can uplift somebody to be even a little happier, just a little thought, like where they are no longer stressed. Because stress is really hurting us more than ever before. Because when we take things onto our shoulders, which we feel we have no power over, that gives us that fear and that anxiety. And then eventually so many people go into that burnout stage, and then depression comes in. So we have to be very watchful what we are doing. Take things on your plate which you can handle. And if you want to test and try, take a little bit harder, but don't try things that are impossible for you right away. Don't take a leap without knowing that where you're jumping to.
Yeah. That's a beautiful purpose in life, Dr. Suresh, that even if there's only one person whose day has become brighter because of us, then we're good, right? We don't have to really do this superhero thing, save the world, have the Messiah complex, right? So
Exactly.
in your corner of the world, you can do simple things, do random acts of kindness, spread that happiness from yourself, and it will flow, spread outside. Now, you mentioned happiness starts from yourself. So I think if you're a happy employee, you can influence the people in your workplace, and that it can trickle down. And then if
Exactly.
you are a middle manager, you can also manage up and then share your happiness with your senior leadership team, right? Now,
I believe
we
all happiness starts from home. So I hope you don't mind. Start from home. It's so much easier to love your family because you've grown up with them. When you start by being supportive of one another at home, it's so much easier to be supportive of your work co-workers. So every problem generally comes from home that comes to work. So we try to fix our home environment. Your work environment suddenly becomes improved. It's so much easier to flow, because the whole idea, what we are looking for, is a support mechanism. So we have a strong support mechanism at home. It's so much easier to find that support mechanism at work too.
I love that. I love that. That reminds me of the adage that the hand that rocks the cradle. I'm speaking from the female member of the species. The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. So a mother's influence, you never know where it ends, right? And to me, I have I have some friends, female friends, when I talk to them, they're quite surprised that I tell them my at least for me personally, my ultimate dream is to become the best homemaker, because I believe that if I was the best daughter, the best sister, the best mother, right? As you have said, able to create that supportive, loving home environment, then we will be able to raise, coming from a religious background, we will be able to raise godly, intelligent children who will become emerging and young leaders, so that when they go out to the world, they are able to influence the world, right? And we can create, as we have been saying since the start of this conversation, a more diverse, inclusive, and beautiful world for us all. I love that. I love that. Now that we know that happiness is integral to the business growth, isn't it about time that we put happiness as one of the business metrics? Or do you know any companies right now that have at least started to consider putting it as one of their business metrics?
Actually, most businesses already have started with positive psychology. See, some words find the word happiness a bit too stretched. Is it really important to make people happy at work? I believe it's not about making them happier, but what makes them work more diligently, more inclusively, meaning in the sense that what allows them to be themselves. Because at the end of the day is when we feel we are allowed to express ourselves at work, we work differently and we work more inclusively, in the sense that we are there to support not only ourselves, but support everyone that works with us. So it's not purely on the basis of happiness, but allowing expression. And a lot of businesses gradually are allowing that, because they are fearful that some employees might take advantage against the company or the co-workers. And that happens with some bullying processes that take place, or the superiority, which is very common in Asian companies, where they feel a person with a vice president has the full power to suppress or push people around that work under them. But companies that allow what we call a lateral stage, where everyone has a voice, work better in today's times. As you said, most of the younger talent coming in wants to be able to express themselves. They want experiences. They want to work with like-minded people. So they are able to work free from fear and anxiety. When people have fear and anxiety, they don't express themselves, and you get what we call subpar work that is only being done to pay for their paycheck. That's it. They're not doing it for any other betterment. So allowing our people to express, that's when creative talent or creativeness comes out.
Now, my question is, some people, they are by temperament melancholic in nature. So how can we encourage them to be more positive, to be more upbeat, and more freely expressive of happiness?
See, we all are allowed to have a bad day. Now, some people have a bad day every day. They need some counseling. They have to come out and say what bothers them. Is it me as a person, or is the work environment, or is it society that bothers them? Or sometimes the problems come from home, as I said earlier. No one is an evil thought. No one comes from evil mindset. It's just because they are having a tough time somewhere that they are unable to express. So they come and release this energy, maybe at a workplace, where they talk in the sense that's non-supportive, or they use language which is what we call degrading. So what most businesses today are doing, besides having an HR person to talk to, they are bringing in counselors, they are bringing in priests, because there could be something that's bothering this individual that is causing this harm. And if that person is not willing to take the steps to change, then HR has every right to tell them, I don't think this environment works for us, for you. Why don't we let you go? At least you can find something that works for you better. And bringing in the right talent, which is supportive of everyone. Because we have to know when to let people go. You can't try to change people. They have to be willing to change themselves.
That's very true. And yes, for any lasting change to really happen, it has to come from within, because people don't like to be told what to do. There's this I really love, there's this one book by Fyodor Dostoevsky, a Russian novelist, Notes from Underground. He said that even if there will come a time that we will be so advanced, we will be able to create a complex mathematical formula that is able to show the people, okay, so this is what you do because this is right, or whatever is beneficial to you. But people will still say, oh no, I'm not doing that because I'm using my free will to say no, just to say that I'm a human, that I exist. Yeah, people
And
don't want
free
to
will is
know
good.
what to do.
Free will is good because it allows us to be our true selves, but that's also part of what a good successful company is all about. When you bring in a multiple avenue of talent, you want them to be able to express themselves, bring out the best elements which could be supporting the team. As you said earlier, free will is a human nature, and if you suppress it, what happens is you get the worst out of everybody.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing that you brought, that about embracing your, as in psychology, Carl Jung, right? The shadow. So doing the shadow work so that you'll be able to embrace it. And when you embrace it, because if you are denying, you are not embracing that evil inside you or your shadow, in many ways, more than one, it will try to show its presence. It will try to poke its ugly head. And in a way, how do you say that? In a way, sabotage you, right? So we really need to do that shadow work, and it's not an easy task, because I'm still trying. I'm still trying to know more about my shadow. I still don't know the full spectrum of it, but little by little, I'm trying to know it, and I'm trying to embrace the parts that I don't like. The parts that I don't like. So we'll talk more about that when we come back from a short break.
Perfect.
I'm pretty sure that our viewers would also love to know more about that. Okay,
Perfect.
so we'll go on a short break. TNC is a live stream platform of online shows for people on the go. Please watch all our shows as seen on screen. Imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our vision is to become a global 24/7 live stream channel that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. Thank you so much for always supporting Stories from the Fringe, live streamed every Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Philippine Standard Time. You can watch us live or on replay via Facebook or YouTube. Follow us on IG. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search hashtag TNC Now. For sponsorships, please email now@thenewchannel.com or send us a DM. Enjoy these life-changing shows because we made them just for you. So before we continue with our insightful conversation with Dr. Suresh, I'd like to thank all these people who continue to support Stories from the Fringe. I'd like to thank Rizil Ramirez, Ezekiel Magbanwa, Arin Bautista from Japan, also Rich Gamba, Teresita Linus Manalo, Celine Bautista Nuya, Ace Angustia, Melvin Phillips from India. Thank you also Alana from Oregon, Tessa Jetson, Sonia Rose McGuire, Angie Lata from New Zealand, Kayla Bell, Christine Cruz, Gladys Kabik, and of course, I'd like to thank Director Migs Kabukit and also Director Maven Sanchez for always helping us with the live stream. Thank you also to our President and Executive Producer, Apple Esplana Manizala. All right, so before we went on a short break, Dr. Suresh Devnani has been sharing with us the many things that we can do as individuals and as companies to help create happy employee experiences and how having a common purpose serves to make the workplace a more inclusive and equitable workplace so that it will be easier for us to attract talent and also possibly retain talent. So let's call again Dr. Suresh Devnani. Hello, Dr. Suresh. Hi there again.
Hi, everyone.
Okay. So before we went on the break, we were talking about the shadow work, right? So to my mind, one question that pops into my mind is, how does doing the shadow work help in creating a more inclusive, equitable, and or a better workplace?
So there's two things I start with generally, because I believe to repair a workspace, you have to repair an individual. So in a way, like how you were saying, talking to your evil side, you have to actually be able to express and talk to that. So the best thing to do is face a mirror and start talking to yourself. Take out whatever things that are bothering you. Who could be better judge of you than you? You know whatever is stopping you from growing is you. So talking to yourself, or for those who find that a little bit more challenging, is to have a journal. Write down everything that is bothering you, that experiences you're dealing with, because it's easy. Maybe today you might not be ready to deal with them, but let's say tomorrow, next week, maybe in 15 days, you could be. It would be nice to go back, like this was my bad day, things that bothered me, and then working through those issues. And if even then you can't manage these issues, seek out a counselor. It's not a bad thing to go for professional help. We all need it. I have somebody to go to when I have things that I don't feel are working for me. It's okay. It's normal. We are human beings and we will never make perfect. That's why we are here.
Yeah. So this is the place and the time to work on attaining that perfection. But unfortunately, that will be a constant, ongoing process. And one thing that I think is, if you are able to do that, then you will be able to release creativity, right? And I believe that you have been able to create a framework for creativity. So how can we please share about that to our viewers?
Sure. So before anybody is creative, he has to deal with four things. And I call it the gate method. So opening or unlocking the gate of your life. So the first one is gratitude. And you must be hearing this a lot from everyone. Everybody's talking about gratitude. But are you really thankful for being who you are today? Many people are not, because they feel life is not perfect. And they always want more things. I want this, I want that. And that's what's stopping them from being gratitude with their life. I know things are not perfect, but it doesn't mean that you are any worse off than somebody else. In fact, most people are better off than most people around the world. Look at the people who are dying of hunger, or right now the war in Ukraine, who are suffering this war.
Yeah.
In most cases, your life is better than everyone else. So why are you comparing yourself? So stop with that and start with gratitude. Then the second one out of the thing is acceptance. Accepting ourselves will make life so much easier. I know you think that you're not perfect, but so what if you're not perfect? Perfection doesn't lead to success. It's taking the steps of accepting yourself that will lead you there. And the third one is trust. I know it's hard to trust people around you, but once in a while, we need to have that hand to support us. If you can't trust somebody else, how are you going to be able to help them in the other way around? Because at the end of the day, it's all about taking, but then giving back in return, like how I'm serving you today. Because it's all about giving back. I have been helped by people all around the world. I have met experts who have trained me to be the better person I am here. So it's all about being the best you can be and transforming towards that. Then the last one is empathy. Seeing other people's problems sometimes makes us a better human being, because at the end of the day, then again, it supports us with gratitude. Like we see how better off we are right now, then supporting others, we could also uplift them from wherever they are. The world is so much positive when more people are there to support each other. It's all about engaging with everyone, because when we know them truly, not by judging them from the outer shell, we could actually make ourselves a better human being. It's all about belonging. See, when we feel belong, don't we do things better? We support each other in a different way. And again, once we are ourselves, we live free from anxiety and fear. Hope only comes when we let go of fear. So these are the positive attitudes that I have created this matrix called the gate. And of course, each one has its own program to help you through it. But again, as I spoke to you earlier, it's all about talking to yourself. When you are candid with yourself, then only you can take the steps to change. And change takes from you. Nobody can change for you. You have to change yourself.
I follow this one influencer on Instagram, Bradley, and then there's this one question, thought-provoking question that he threw out there. He said, "I'll give you an option. I'll give you 50,000. I'm not really sure how much the amount now is, but it's a hefty amount. For example, I'll give you $5 million today, on the condition that you will not wake up tomorrow." Or tomorrow you don't have money, but you will wake up. So which one will you choose? And I think that puts everything into perspective. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, if not most, will easily choose the latter. They will choose not to have the money, but still wake up for another day, live another day, spend more time with the family another day. And that, to me, says that as long as you open your eyes in the morning, because not very many people, they sleep tonight, and then there's no guarantee that they will wake up tomorrow, right? So it makes you feel that yes, sometimes my work day may suck. I don't like what's happening. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but there's always something to be grateful for, right?
Exactly.
To be grateful for our life.
Exactly.
It's not saying that. I just want to make it clear that I'm not saying that one's misfortune is better than the other. I mean, we all have our own crosses to bear. But what I'm saying is that always look at the positive side.
Exactly.
And then again, yes, accepting yourself, because how can you accept others? How can you not? How can you be open-minded if you cannot accept yourself? And trust, that's very basic. I'm pretty sure, Dr. Suresh, that if you cannot trust someone, you cannot work with him or her, right? You cannot build a
You
deep
can't trust your boss.
relationship.
Yeah. Can you trust your boss? No. Then what are you going to do there? Then you should find a
Yeah,
job where you can trust the boss and your co-workers. Otherwise, there's no team effort going on.
yeah, very true, very true. It will be a drag to work for a boss that you don't trust. You're afraid that he or she will throw you under the bus anytime. And then also empathy. Empathy. The feeling of belonging. That's one of the basic needs based on Abraham Maslow's
Exactly.
hierarchy of needs, right? Our need for
Mhm.
belongingness. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now,
And this is
so
what takes, and let's add on a few more thoughts here. So, this is the foundation of building that optimistic, happy culture that we've been speaking about. So, once we have worked with people that work for a company, then we start creating a culture that they want to build. Many companies have culture, they've been in business for the last 15, 20, 50 years even. But once in a while, these companies want to think for the future, and they bring in people like me to help them look beyond the current culture. And as I said earlier, it's all about working with people first and then creating this optimistic, happy culture. And that's how you build a great company from the company that just is functioning.
so we started with the individual level to the workplace. Perhaps we can also look at the society as a whole. We always, when we talk about countries in general, we talk about GDPs. Do you think that it's also about time that we also consider? I don't know how best to say it. For example, general gross happiness.
Exactly.
Perhaps might it be about time to rethink that?
See, if you look at the current chart, like which is the happiest country in the world, generally these countries are the ones that take care of all the needs of people. So from your
Uh,
education to your medical, from all the things that, and they have a better work-life balance. And so it's all everything. So currently, like the happiest countries are the Nordic countries, but in some ways they are very socialist. But it doesn't mean they are not perfect in that sense that they take care of people's needs. So what's more important, having multiple rich people or everybody who is rich? So we have to look beyond our society. Now, in Asia, that might be difficult because everybody wants to be an individual. In the sense, everybody wants to be the richer than the next guy because it's all about the bragging right. Oh, I have 10 million,
mm,
I have 50 million, I live in so and so place, I drive a Mercedes Benz, or I have a Rolls Royce. But these kind of things don't matter to the Scandinavian country or the Nordic country people. They are happy driving a simple Volvo or whatever car they can get their hands on. In some cases, they don't even want to own cars because they're thinking of environment. So they take public transport. So are
mm,
people comfortable with this in Asia or wherever else they might want to be happier? So
mm,
a lot of these values matter. So not all societies are ready to go there, but we can take what we call minor steps gradually towards creating a inclusive society which is optimistic and supportive at the same time.
mm, mm, mm. Might it be because these people in rich countries, because they're so used with having rich resources, they enjoy all these amenities provided free by the government. That's why they don't have that scarcity mindset. They don't even have to think about it because they know that it's there.
Yeah.
It's a given. But unlike the developing countries, where these basic needs like medical needs, we still don't have a universal healthcare,
Mhm.
basic needs, the infrastructure are not really good. Public transportation here in the Philippines, many years ago when I was still much younger, a car is considered as a luxury, but because
Mhm.
of poor public transportation, it has now become a necessity. Because you needed, if you needed to go to a business meeting or a conference, you can't afford to be late, right? So you need to have your own car.
So that's again, like how you're saying, these countries that provide everything are charging taxations of 60 to 70%. So whatever you earn, you're going to give government 60% of that. Are people comfortable with that in many countries? No. They say, I will decide how I spend my money, so I pay as little tax as possible. Mm-hmm. But again, this is how each country is an individual. So there are charts out there that explain why certain countries are happier, why certain are not. It's all about also values that they bring up, like how you have been passed on from your family, from the society that you have been brought up in, or country you are living in. So all this matters. So then again, we are here today to talk about diversity and inclusion. So that helps us to gauge exactly what kind of mindset each individual is coming with. So if you want an inclusive group of people, it might be great to bring in people from Scandinavia or from the Nordic countries. But if you want a balance, like, okay, they are both hardworking at the same time, inclusive in the sense they're supportive or optimistic, then you have to again look at a different group of people. So HR really has a lot of tools available to them. It's just now able to access this kind of talent.
Yeah. I've shared with you and our viewers earlier that one of my dreams is to become the best homemaker. Then one also of my dreams, Dr. Suresh, is to become a billionaire philanthropist.
All the best.
I want to be a billionaire philanthropist because I've read that even if you have money, there's a certain amount of money that when you reach that threshold, it doesn't add to your happiness. But I believe that by blessing others, by becoming a blessed blessing to others, even if you have already reached that threshold, because you have reached that kind of income that you have always dreamed of, it will multiply your happiness because you spread that happiness with people.
Fair enough. And it's all about, as we were talking about the hierarchy of needs, it's about covering the basic needs. And then you have to decide how much more will actually suffice your mindset of saying, I am now covered. I am no longer worried about missing out anything in my life. And then you work on this pathway of finding your true calling or purpose or whatever it is. So these are the root things. So each individual has his own number in his mind. I want 10, I want 100, I want 1 billion, like how you said. But is that 1 billion really the limit you have set yourself? Or when you have a billion, you want 2, you want 5, you want 100.
Yeah.
Then what? Yeah. So are you going to ever find that happiness? It's on you now. So you are making your happiness even harder to get every day. Why not set a target? If I have 100,000, I'll feel I'm the happiest person on the earth. Because remember that day when you were going to college, you only had 500 pesos in your pocket. But now you already have 100,000, you're still not happy. Why?
I had a lovely teacher back in high school, and even if she was, she's quite old, but she had this baby face, always beaming with joy. And then I asked her, why are you so young looking? And then she said that she realized that people, they tend to become older, they're stressed, they're burnt out because they always think about money. They always fear that they will lose money or they don't have money. Where will the money come from? And then she says that even if she has only 75 centavos. So I'm talking about pesos. Only 75 centavos in her wallet. She says that's still money, and I'm so happy. And her mindset is now that I look back to that incident, I think that she's the first person who gave me the idea about the abundance mindset. That she said there's a lot of money swimming around. There's a lot of money going around. The only thing that you need to think about is how to put that money inside your pocket or inside your wallet. And to my mind, yeah, that's very true. There's really no reason to worry. And there's every reason to be grateful because abundance is we are swimming in a sea of abundance, if I may say. Right now, as we're talking, right, Dr. Suresh, money is being exchanged by different hands. So you just need to make sure that the money also lands into your hands or into your pocket. So that you can do better. So that you can do better, you can be a blessing to the world. I'd like to
Exactly.
highlight that last point.
See, the whole idea is like how you said earlier, you want to be a billionaire. Wouldn't it be better to be a happy note? You know, like in that sense that you actually had a billion happy moments in your life, that whenever you feel down, you could think about that moment and uplifts your spirit. So that's the thing here. I'm not saying it's bad to be a rich person. Yes, we need to suffice our need. Money is nothing wrong with it. That's a drive, which is good, but that's what businesses want from you. That the more money they give you, the more harder you work for them and you work better for them. But the end of the day is, as you said earlier, there's a generation of people right now who are not coming for only money. They're coming for experience. They're coming to change the world for the better so they could have a better future. So we have to also look to their point of view. Otherwise, you will have a problem maybe in the next 5 or 15 years in your culture, because the old people will retire who were behind the money. These younger people will come in hordes to you. So how are you going to manage them then? Will your company actually have a bright future if you don't think about them now? So it's always nice to incorporate these ideas today. See, at the end of the day, we have to enable these people with the policies, the programs that support their needs, which not only look at to empower them, but also look at their health, their relationships. As I told you, our relations from home matter a lot at the workplace relationships. If you have poor relationships at home, the tendency is most people have poor relationships at work. And as you know from HR yourself, if there's poor relationships between our team members, they're going to have work which is not productive. It's not engaging enough. And again, as we spoke earlier, it's all about purpose for so many of these people. And then bringing in the talent who is willing to be a learner, who's a seeker, who wants to practice these ideals. See, it's easy to put out these ideals on a chart, like this is our motto, or this is our statement. But if you don't have the proper members coming in who work for you, how are you going to make this into reality? So we have to be very careful in the talent we bring in, who's actually a true seeker, as somebody who's there to learn, who wants to follow these ideals. And that's the only way. But at the same time, we have to be a company or an organization that enables these people to be able to do those things for them.
Yes, very well said. I totally agree with that, Dr. Suresh. So before we close this conversation, I'm so loving this conversation. I think we can continue on. But what is the one thing that you feel is most valuable takeaway for our viewers?
In my view, the best thing is you must start for being yourself, because at the end of the day is if you are yourself, you're able to work through your fear and anxiety. And we all have fear and anxiety. No one is perfect. Once in a while, we'll have a bad day or bad week or a month. How are you going to deal with these challenges and problems? You have to ask yourself this question: how? If you're going to go into a panic mode where you start screaming and shouting, that's not the state you want to be in. You want to be in a state where you can hear yourself and realize why things are going the wrong way for you. It might be because you built those foundations earlier. That's why they're going wrong for you. Or maybe you're not seeking the help you need. Some things you don't know. So why not ask people who can support you and find you solutions? Why are you trying to figure out everything on your own? Don't put too much on your shoulder, because that's when stress starts. And then you start disliking yourself, then you dislike the whole world.
Wonderful, wonderful. How can our viewers continue to see more of you on social media? How can they support you?
So I'm available through all multiple channels out there. So I have a great website you can look up, which is my first name, devnani.com. and I'm available on LinkedIn. I have some great videos out there on YouTube. You can also look at my 4 TEDx talks, which talk about very, very specific topics. There's one especially which I would love for Jennifer to watch is how losing money made me happy. Actually, I became even happier when I lost my money than I was when I was rich. So it's a great tool to start with. And will express to you, like, maybe you are not that bad off as you are currently thinking you are. Money will not buy you happiness. Yes, it buys you comforts. It buys you convenience. It buys you time. That for sure, I agree with all those ideals. But it can't buy you happiness. And it's not about creating a lump sum amount in your mind that will change that. Just make sure your basic needs are covered and you have something called a nest egg. We should save up enough. So let's say if you have 6 months of like COVID or a year of COVID, at least you know you are not going to be on the road asking for money or borrowing it from anyone else, because that's a worse experience, like going to people and asking for money. I hope that never happens to anyone.
Thank you for that, Dr. Suresh. Yes, and I let me also underscore, you don't need to be a billionaire for you to be a philanthropist. You can be a philanthropist, whatever your station in life right now. You can start right now. All right. And for those of you, dear viewers, who love today's session, we would love you to invite a friend, a family member, or a colleague to join us next Thursday, July 21. Same digital channel, the new channel, and same time. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Suresh.
My pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for listening to me today. I hope these ideas will uplift your spirits and you can implement them immediately in your lives.
Yes, you did. Of course, you did. It was a very pleasant conversation with you, Dr. Suresh. And dear viewers, thank you for choosing to spend your Thursday morning with us. Have a good rest of your day or evening, depending where you are in the world. God bless everyone.
God bless everyone. Thank you.